what is training?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why we're here, right? Is to improve our performance. So how would we define training, Will?
What I've put here, Matt, is really the process of applying a specific stress to induce a specific adaptation. What I mean by that is, if I want to get better on the bike, I'm going to cycle. Just if we take a step right back at the fundamental level, we want those specific stress to induce specific responses. If I want to get better at hill climbing, I need to ride hills. And that's kind of big picture. As we get down into the nitty gritty, there can be, I want to get better at buffering lactate. And that applies a specific stress within your training as well.
Yeah, I think training is not just exercising. So exercising is a part of training, but training really involves a plan to improve. So if I just go out for a walk, yes, I'm exercising, but no, I'm not training. And same goes if I go out for a ride. Yes, I'm exercising, but unless that is fitting within my plan to improve, it's not exactly training.
Same with recovery.
Yeah, well, because recovery is part of it, right?
Yeah, we can apply the stress. We can apply as much stress as we want, but if we never recover, we never adapt. And without the adaptation, we don't get the response. And so we love to apply training, like we're coaches. This is what we do. We love to look at the data, apply one of these specific stresses to get a stimulus, to get the response. But often, how does recovery fit into that equation? And I know, Matt, your dad, he's not an exercise physiologist, but he taught you pretty well straight off the bat.
Yeah, he knew from the get-go, because when I first started riding, I would pretty much just go out every day and try and go as fast as I could out on the trails. And he's like, not every day needs to be 100%. Yeah, whatever. What do you know? I thought I knew everything. And he was right. So once I started to actually have hard training sessions, moderate training sessions, easy training sessions, and even days off, that's when I started to improve. So he was definitely onto it.
Within those kind of easy trainings, medium trainings, moderate, hard, and days off, we can target specifics of training, like the cardiovascular system, neuromuscular system, and the biochemical or energy systems. They all interrelate, but within the physiology of, our human body, we can figure out how to target those within our training and also maybe look if some of them are underperforming. And one way we can do that is training zones. Everyone loves a good training zone, Matt.
Yeah, so we did a podcast episode on training zones, and this still is one of our most popular ones. Because even when you go into Training Peaks and you set a training zone for your athlete, you can see that there's different ways to set these zones, and they're all a little bit different. But one of the things that we discuss is that training zones, the importance of a training zone is that they're just a really good way to communicate between an athlete and a coach, and amongst different coaches and amongst different athletes.
That's right. Not only is it a great way for exercise prescription, where you have all this background knowledge, but really you just need to make sure that the athlete is, training at a specific intensity. And by saying zone 2, you don't need to explain to the athlete, sometimes they love to know, right? All of that science that goes behind why you've applied zone 2. And in the analysis, we know what zone 2 represents, we know what zone 3, 4, 5, and so on represent. So in an analysis, we can look at time and zones, and we can deep dive into the kind of physiology of someone's training across a mesocycle, microcycle, macrocycle, all with the use of training zones. What we want to be able to do is really explain more in depth with physiology what those training zones are representing, and that comes to energy systems.